Madam Clerk, are we streaming? What's our technology situation?
We are currently live on YouTube, awaiting an update of a Zoom link onto the agenda.
Okay, we are live on YouTube. So let's bring the meeting to order. And we will begin with a Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Michael Garcia, salute to the New Mexico flag led by Councilor Castro, invocation and remembrances from Councilor Romero Worth. Thank you, everybody.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Saludo la bandera del Estado de Nuevo México, el símbolo día de amistad perfecta entre culturas unidas.
I'm going to be Councilor Romero Worth for the moment. That's okay. Thank you. I am really excited to see how much community turned out for this today. As we know, this is one of my favorite topics and one of the wonkiest topics that we deal with at the city. So to see so many people who are here and want to make our community a better place and who really want to put in the work and the effort and the hours is so encouraging. So I think we should all just be so incredibly grateful that we live in this city with all of these wonderful people who are very passionate about this work, and that you have all of my colleagues up here who also are very passionate about this community. So thanks everyone for being here. I'm just really full of gratitude.
Are there any remembrances tonight? Well, without any specific names, let's remember there are people in our community who are struggling to make ends meet, people who are dealing with hardship, people who need our help, people who are here as part of our community and yet may not feel included. Let's reach out to them. Let's help them. Let's assist them. Let's make Santa Fe a city where everyone feels welcome and included. Take a minute to think about everyone in our city. Thanks, everybody. Madam Clerk, call the roll and do let us know if we do establish a successful Zoom link, please.
Councilor Cassett,
Here.
Councilor Castro,
Presente.
Councilor Chavez. Hold on, let me peek and see if she's. Councilor Faulkner. Councilor Lee Garcia,
Here.
Councilor Michael Garcia,
Present.
Councilor Lindell, Councilor Romero Worth,
Present.
Mayor Weber.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
There's a motion to approve the agenda. There's a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Councilor Castro,
Yes.
Councilor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Councilor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Councilor Lindell, Councilor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilor Cassett,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. So with that, Madam Clerk, could you take us to the item that is on the agenda?
Mayor, I'm getting word that there are counselors in the waiting room that just need to be added as a panelist.
Good. Can we can't upgrade people at the moment.
No, there's no one there. Oh, wait, sorry.
Counselors in the waiting room,
Counselor.
waiting to be added as part of the meeting.
There we go. Councilor Faulkner is here.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Madam Clerk, we have item 7A, and I believe you and your team will lead us in a reading of the caption.
7A, consideration of bill number 2024-17, adoption of ordinance number 2025-TBD, sponsored by Mayor Alan Weber and Councilor Jamie Cassett, a bill repealing and replacing SFCC 1987, Chapter 14, Land Development Code, clarifying and consolidating various references to code violations into one violation section, specifying that the applicant or the property owner have the burden of proof for establishing legal nonconformities, reducing the early notification requirement, neighborhood notification requirement for city capital improvement projects to those exceeding $250,000, renaming special use permit to conditional use permit.
Mike, please.
Removing Historic District Review Board's HDRB authority to recommend personal property acquisitions, requiring archaeologists to hold a New Mexico state burial excavation permit for certain work, removing waivers of qualifications for archaeologists by Archaeological Review Committee, increasing permitted building heights for residential districts and non-residential development, establishing densities and height by right for certain residential zones exceeding 10 units per acre, creating a parks and open space zoning district.
Permitting additional flexibility for certain structures and situations regarding setbacks, eliminating residential suite, hotel, motel, and ecological resource protection overlay zone districts, reducing the length at which an archaeological clearance permit is required for sewer and utility main construction, removing alcohol sale regulations in the airport road overlay, identifying a strategy to review and approve land uses not specifically listed in the summary table of allowed uses, clarifying that duplexes, triplexes, townhomes, and residential complexes are permitted uses.
Creating use categories and subcategories and reorganizing some existing uses into new categories within the table of allowed uses. Requiring trees to be integrated into stormwater infrastructure in the airport road overlay district. Removing certain prohibitions for vehicle parking at residences. Allowing accessory dwelling units to be the maximum allowable height of the zoning district. Establishing design and dimensional standards for residential compound development. Regulating in-ground and above-ground pools, regulating agricultural home occupations, reassigning the use laboratory research and testing.
From industrial to commercial, regulating outdoor dining, updating telecommunication facilities code to be consistent with the federal standards, establishing new sub-district regulations in the historic district overlays, specifying primary facades for significant structures and the strategy for identifying primary facades on contributing structures, updating definitions for facade and elevation, prohibiting enclosure of existing porches and portals on the primary facades of contributing structures, requiring window depth and other characteristics of windows.
And doors to be preserved in historic districts, increasing affordability incentives, including administrative review and density bonuses, specifying that open space requirements in the C2 district are per dwelling unit, expanding options to reduce on-site parking and exempting the business capital district from parking requirements in table 7.4, reducing required off-street parking spaces, requiring electric vehicle charging stations for all new developments.
Distinguishing parking regulations applicable to bicycles for those applicable to vehicles and requiring long-term bicycle storage and parking. Eliminating content-based sign restrictions, imposing a variety of new regulations protecting the city's terrain and stormwater management, imposing new landscaping standards for plants and trees, eliminating allowance for high and low pressure sodium lamps and mercury vapor, adding LED as a permitted lamp type, and decreasing the permitted incandescent watts from 160 to 150, sunsetting the Business Capital District Design Review Committee and Long Range Planning Subcommittee, defining numerous terms, embedding graphical depictions of processes, and making non-substantive chapter organizational changes. And here, if you have any questions or a presentation, is Assistant Land Use Director Maggie Moore.
Thank you. Director Lamboy and Assistant Director, do you want to begin our presentation tonight before we get community input with an overview of what's in front of us? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. It's really a pleasure being here tonight. It reflects a lot of work and it really does take a village. It's the community. It's all of us that have been part of this and had touched the proposed code update. I'm excited to bring phase 1 of the Land Development Code update forward for your consideration. This has been a monumental effort with contributions from across city government within our diverse community of practitioners, developers, builders, advocates, many of them who are here tonight to share their perspectives with you all. First, I want to acknowledge the past, including Mr. Klug and present leadership and staff of the Planning and Land Use Department, our partners across city government in public utilities, public works, fire department, the city attorney's office. We've really we've gotten to know each other very well over this project. And the members of our community advisory working group, technical advisory working group, the Planning Commission Subcommittee, and the Historic District Advisory Committee, who volunteered time and provided their expertise on this proposed legislation. I would especially like to thank Maggie Moore. She took over this project, and she's Assistant Director Moore, my apologies. She took over this project from Daniel Sandoval when he left, Daniel Alvarado, when he left the city. And she has just been a champion and has worked many, many hours, and really want to acknowledge her efforts. And she will finish the presentation.
Yes, thanks, Mayor and City Councilors. I just have a brief introduction and we can get to hearing from the public this evening. And the last time that the city comprehensively updated the land development code was in 1987. And over the nearly 40 years since, there have been numerous updates, additions, and revisions to the code. We've added new use standards for accessory dwelling units, short-term rentals, and cannabis retailers. We've adopted overlay districts designed to encourage or discourage certain types of development along our key corridors through the city, and overlays to protect valued terrain and vistas. We have an architectural design review process that is aimed at allowing development while maintaining our city's character and visual harmony. This piecemeal adoption of these efforts has resulted in a layered, complex, and sometimes contradictory set of rules and regulations, which has become notoriously difficult to understand, interpret, and enforce. In 2023, the Land Use Department, at the request of this governing body and direction of this governing body, initiated a contract with Clarion and Associates to conduct a 3-phase comprehensive update of the Land Development Code. Phase 1 was envisioned as low-hanging fruit, which in hindsight was clearly an understatement. As reviewing and reorganizing nearly 700 pages of legislation that impacts the lives and livelihoods of most all residents of this city is no small task. I think a better description might be the fruit at the top of a very tall and prickly tree. This update is the culmination of over 2 years of public engagement, community input, citywide staff review, and direction from our city leadership. Our efforts began in the spring of 2023 with a virtual open house, which we had to move virtual because the city shut down because of a storm. Very exciting, had to pivot there. And we followed that up with an in-person open house a few months later at the Santa Fe Community Convention Center. Following these events, we solicited additional input through public surveys. We launched a project website and conducted stakeholder interviews across city government and with community leaders. We collected additional contributions from city staff, and all this information was gathered and put into our LDC assessment report, which was released in the summer of 2023. Following its release, our project team hosted another round of engagement events, one we had here at City Hall, one we hosted down at the Southside Library. And this was to present the assessment report and get additional public feedback. At this time, we also assembled our technical advisory group and our community advisory group. These are technical experts and community advocates who helped guide our drafting process. Our goal was to improve the organization, the clarity, and the user friendliness of the LDC, and create a foundation for subsequent more substantial policy changes we anticipated in phases 2 and phase 3. Phase 1 would provide a code that was accessible to the layperson, that was easy to understand and simple to administer, with consistent and transparent regulations. While I wish we could have reduced the overall bulk of the code, I do believe that we have delivered on those initial goals. Through our engagement events and with the public, with discussions with city staff, and through the urging of many of our advisory working group members, we also included several more substantive proposals with phase 1, including targeted incentives for affordable housing and promoting more diverse mix of missing middle housing types, a long anticipated update of the Historic Preservation Overlay District, and expanded options to eliminate parking requirements intended to spur economic development and create a more walkable city. There is something here for everyone. Whether you're passionate about parks, trails, and open space, conserving our native tree canopy, reducing light pollution, and promoting walkable infill development, protecting our archaeological resources, supporting green building, historic preservation, or free speech, the LDC has it. In addition to the repeal and replace bill and new code, I have included a summary memo and disposition report in your packet to support your review and analysis of this major piece of legislation. The disposition report is a 3-column crosswalk with existing code in the far left, the new code citation in the middle, and a brief description of the change in the right column. We have chosen to highlight certain changes as substantive and acknowledge that this is a very subjective term. Some constituencies will not consider the new provision allowing on-street parking to count towards off-street parking as substantive. But those businesses trying to redevelop an abandoned warehouse into a brewery who cannot find enough parking spaces to meet our standards will celebrate this new allowance. Some will think we went too far with certain proposals, while others will think we did not go far enough. To those people, I say we still have phases 2 and 3. The substantive changes are highlighted in yellow in the disposition report and are discussed further in the memo, where we have a little more space to get into the context and reasoning behind the changes. I've also included our LDC assessment report that I mentioned earlier, which summarizes our initial public engagement efforts, our goals, and priorities for phase 1. Initially, you will also find our enhanced affordability incentives report, which was produced by Creating Affordability Now and HomeWise, which discusses how Santa Fe and other communities have used streamlined development reviews, density bonuses, dimensional flexibility, and fee waivers to incentivize affordable housing. Thank you for the opportunity to work on this once-in-a-lifetime effort. I look forward to working with you all on the adoption of phase 1 and look forward to continuing our work on phases 2 and 3. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate your being here tonight and all the hard work that went into getting us here tonight. With that, this is a opportunity for folks to comment on this bill. There is no action tonight, but it is a chance for comment as we have set up our process. So if you would like to speak to the bill, please come forward to the podium. Yeah, Councilor Garcia.
Quick question, just because this is the first time we as a governing body would be getting a presentation on this. And there are over 40 substantive updates being recommended here, and we didn't go over a single one. Public has no idea regarding those 40 substantive updates. I'm quite surprised that we spent more time reading the title than going over any of these substantive updates tonight. So I just want to state that for the record.
Thank you. This is a chance for the public to comment on the bill. It is set up in our process that way. And Councilor Cassett, you had a comment?
I was just going to speak to our procedural rules that does say that on the first comment, that a 5-minute presentation by staff is permitted, but it does limit that presentation. So that is part of our procedural rules.
Yeah, I'm not overly
It says
concerned.
staff shall provide a presentation not to exceed 5 minutes in length. So I guess we may be more concerned that we went.
No,
too
I'm
long.
not overly concerned. I think the public is here to, in full flower, ready to give us some input on the measure. They're familiar with it. Many of them have worked on it. They are primed and ready to go. So with that, if the city clerk will keep the timer, I know it's a lot of material to cover in simply a couple of minutes, but we do have a lot of folks who want to speak. So please be respectful to everyone else who is in line. And if you have a written document you'd like to leave behind, of course, please do leave that for us. We can add that to our reading material. Madam Clerk, I'm advised that we now do have a working Zoom link. Is that correct?
We do have a working Zoom link. We just need the timer to come up. I'll take time.
All right, the clerk will keep the time, and I know everyone here is ready to offer some input. So with that, sir, you have the floor.
Greetings. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Miles Conway. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the New Mexico Home Builders Association. And this is one of the last times I'll probably get to address this council and this body until the next council is seated. And I just want to say it's been my honor and privilege to be before many of you that I won't get to see you at the dais for a little while from today. But our association, and in my previous role at the Santa Fe Area Home Builders Association, enthusiastically endorsed some of the elements that you have before you in this phase 1 update. I want to compliment the council and the decisions you've made to make one of the most robust, and respectfully, Councilor Garcia, one of the most robust public input processes that have existed for this long-term development code rewrite in anyone's memory. This phase 1 update checks the boxes for number 1, 5, 6, and 7 of the National Association of Home Builders 10-point plan to tame shelter inflation, ease this housing affordability crisis. You have contained within this plan, we have aimed the compass in the right direction towards allowing for, and let me put it in a very plain terms, like we're going to legalize Santa Fe. We're going to legalize a traditional Santa Fe way of building. And we are going to invite, and I think you'll hear from some of my cohorts and members behind me here, we might even allow some of our small hometown, local, talented builders to participate in the building out of the future kind of workforce and affordable housing build out that Santa Fe so desperately needs. We've all heard the facts and figures. We are tens of thousands behind in the New Mexico, maybe 5,000 north in Santa Fe, the amount of workforce housing, affordable housing units that we desperately need now. So thank you for pointing the compass point in the right direction and for your work tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilors. My name is Edward Archuleta. I'm wearing a new hat these days. I'm one of 2 co-directors of the Old Santa Fe Association. A quick plug for OSFA, as we call ourselves. We're going to be celebrating our 100th anniversary next year of the founding of the organization. We're going to have a slew of events all year. I'll make sure you're all on our mailing list so you know what's going on. You can also check our website at oldsantafe.org. I'm not here right now to talk much about the meat of the code. There's still a lot that I need to digest. But I'm glad you're having a lot of upcoming hearings the next couple of weeks. We will have more comments about the actual wording and provisions in the code. Right now, I just want to thank city staff for all the incredible hard work you guys have done in doing this. I used to work in the planning department upstairs, and I was involved with one of these years ago, and it's time-consuming and tedious. So thank you all, Heather Lamboy, Maggie Moore, all the departments that were involved in this. I want to thank Councilor Cassett, you, Mayor, for co-sponsoring this. It's been a long time in coming for this, but I think we still need a little bit more time to really digest everything. One other thing, if I may, very quickly, I was listening to the city council meeting last night on YouTube from the comfort of my home, and I heard the two homeless people who got up to criticize St. Elizabeth Shelter. As a former director, I was very concerned about what they said. I just want to let you know that I contacted the director of the two shelters, the men's shelter and the women and family shelter, to let them know what was said. I don't know if the allegations were true, but we're looking into it, and I will follow up on it. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
I'm president of Santa Fe Habitat for Humanity, and we're here to thank you all for working this over. Becca Haffenville. HAFF. Isn't all. And we're grateful for the level of effort that you put into this. And we agree with many of the things that are going forward. We think that it will help us in our mission to build more affordable housing in Santa Fe. And we favor the building heights, which helps us adhere to our green building code. We build very green homes. We like the clarification for duplexes, triplexes, and townhomes. We are currently building duplexes in Shara Village right now. Parking restrictions can be helpful to our work and our families. We benefit from these incentives that for-profit developers will meet, and that we can build with any developer the affordable housing requirements that they would have. We build 100% affordable houses. So all of our houses are built to meet those incentives. And the gentle increase in density will help us put more affordable homes up in Santa Fe. And all of those things that you do to help the for-profit developers will help us. So I thank you.
Thank you for being here. Wait 1 sec while we reset the clock.
Think I'm gonna run over. I can be verbose, it's
Ye-
fine.
I'm
Especially
unaware.
on this topic.
You have the floor, sir. Your time
you,
is
Mayor.
beginning.
Daniel Werwat, 1611 Camino Porvenir. I just just want to say first, I enjoyed the process of participating in the community advisory working group that helped develop these. I'm excited to see these affordable housing incentives. We started these back in 2019 when we raised fees in lieu and said we were going to do some other things to try and get some affordable units actually built and market rate projects. And we're now finally doing that work 6 years later. And I'm glad it got lost in the pandemic, but we're doing it. And it's really important. I think a couple things I want to call out. I want to say, like, Heather and Maggie and staff did a great job. Daniel Alvarado, who we probably lost to housing affordability issues. But land use reform's happening nationally. I think we know, you guys better than anybody know, that our land use code isn't meeting our needs. You see, right? Every affordable housing project for the last few years has had to have a reason to go forward. And that tells you your existing system isn't meeting the needs of the community. So this is a step toward it. I don't think it's far enough. And some other people are going to say it's way too far. So that tells you you're on the right track, right? That's a good public process. You've ended up in the middle. And I think that's important. I think at best, this is going to help pull the private developers into building more affordable housing. That's what we need to do. Land use code isn't just about aesthetics and separating uses. It's about pointing the market. We need to point the market to building starter homes and affordable homes for locals. And this is a good first step. And if this goes well, I hope that it can help us see what works and doesn't work when we go to phase 2 and phase 3 of this process and expand this out to all housing. Thank you for your time. Thanks for the work. Thanks.
Thank you for coming down tonight. Note of caution to everybody, please make sure you're speaking directly into the mic so everybody, not only in the chamber can hear you, but folks who are tuning in either through YouTube or zooming in. The acoustics need a very direct shot right into the mic. Go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you. My name is Bill Roth. I'm familiar with some of the council members and had the pleasure of working with them over the years. I'm here to speak as a small builder and the possibility that this brings to us as far as being able to participate in building homes for Santa Feans that are affordable. It's not addressed in phase one. I've spoken to some people about this for phase two, but I strongly feel that there should be an incentive for building workforce housing, which is essentially the missing middle. We're looking at people that are below median income up to median and then 120 or 140. And then the stuff that's just missing in the middle. We have Pulte building stuff, HomeWise building stuff, production builders. We have people building giant apartment complexes. What we don't have are builders that are willing to take a 1 or 2 acre parcel and build something interesting, you know, a compound with maybe a mix of some apartments and some single family homes. And I think this is an opportunity that we do not want to miss. The state has incentives for low interest loans for workforce housing. One of our local builders got one of those to build 12 units. If this had been in place, she might have been able to put 16 units or whatever. I mean, so my feeling is, say for instance, you can build 8 units on an upzone at 1.5. and you would need to build 2 affordable and 6 market. Honestly, a builder is going to be more incentivized to build 5 market and 3 workforce for the reason that those affordables, basically they're losing money on. And consequently, their market rate houses are going to have to cost more. So if we want to even out the market, I think incentivizing workforce housing, being able to take advantage of the money the state has available is something that should be addressed, if not in this phase, in the next phase. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Ann Watkins. I apologize for my voice. Blame it on the chamisa that's blooming right now. As a member of the Community Development Commission, I have on several occasions come to speak to you about particular projects or how we get more money for this. I think we have a unique opportunity with this to dramatically expand the housing choices available in Santa Fe, as well as to make affordable housing easier to build. Chapter 14 rewrite is long overdue. This is an amazing and impressive work that these folks have done. We have great staff now ready to implement this. I think taken together as a package, and that's the important thing here, we have a great opportunity to move forward. I think we've had substantial review already, public review. I'm on one of the technical working groups, of which there are several. I encourage you to move forward. This is a great idea to expedite this process. Let's get this going. We can tweak things later on if we need to, but really we have such an opportunity right now in Santa Fe to build a futuristic city that really looks at our historical past. And I applaud you for moving forward with this and expediting the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get the clock reset. And you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and councilors. My name is Kat Kincaid. Thank you for this opportunity to speak in support of the Phase 1 updates to the Land Use Code. And I hope after listening to all of us, you also get a chance to share your views. In particular, I want to add my voice in support of the affordable housing development incentives in Phase 1. I hope you'll pass them as a package and without substantive changes. The density bonuses, dimensional flexibility, fee waivers, and streamlined administrative review are all needed to make the development of affordable housing feasible. A bit of an aside, but when my aunt and I were looking to buy a place in New Mexico in 2021, we spoke to a realtor in Bernalillo County who warned us that some people's wells were drying up, which required digging a new well at great expense. After some research, it became clear that Bernalillo County had not been able to finalize a sustainable growth plan while Santa Fe County had. And of course, it's now being updated. That's good government, doing the heavy lifting to build consensus and plan for a future where systems adapt and thrive. Likewise, I really admire you, the leaders of Santa Fe, for updating the land use code to ensure a bright future for Santa Fe. What's more, you've had the foresight to front load some changes that will address the affordable housing shortage in Santa Fe. So thank you for that. Keep on keeping on. Another aside, I also think that your pay should be raised. I would speak in favor of that too. Just throwing it out. Okay. I need to add one concern. We are heading into another winter, and I do not see that we've added any shelter beds for our neighbors experiencing homelessness. We also have not gotten any micro communities up and running to move people out of congregate shelters. I know that no one here would favor a Darwinian solution to homelessness of allowing people to die from exposure, but that's the effect of not having more warm, safe beds available. As a community, we need to double down in the coming weeks to make some progress before the cold sets in. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here.
Can I go?
Please.
Hello,
Yep.
good evening, Mayor, Council. It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm Johanna Gilligan. Thank you so much. I'm really thrilled to be speaking in support tonight of the passage of the Phase 1 Land Use Development Code update. Quickly, just want to say this has been a collective process that has created this Creating Affordable Now incentive package. It's been the work of many great groups and housing organizations, and it was fully vetted through the COG. Much of what is proposed within the incentive package has precedent here in the link overlay, as well as in many other places. The incentives are interrelated and work holistically, and therefore it is critical that they be passed whole cloth rather than changed. This has been a process with robust community engagement. We had the COG, we had the TOG, we had community meetings, and we had online input process. So we had multimodal opportunities for input. And the process is also a year delayed. Further delays are unnecessary and will not result in better outcomes for this code or for our city. There are many good elements in this update beyond the affordable housing incentives, including the parking flexibility, which I think is going to be a great way to build more housing without adding unnecessary parking, and the ability to integrate more green building with this simple height addition, and simply a more readable document, which is very helpful. We very much appreciate your leadership as a council on this. This is such an important issue for the city. I particularly want to shine a light on Councilor Cassett, who has been a champion from the beginning on this issue and on this project. I also want to really tip my hat to Heather Maggie and these land use staff for getting this done. I implore you to move this forward. Those with the least secure access to housing need our leadership on this now. Delays never benefit those most vulnerable in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Councilors. I'm Anthony Guida. I am the president of Friends of Architecture of Santa Fe, a nonprofit focused on the future of Santa Fe's built environment. I was also a member of the Community Advisory Working Group when all of this work on non-substantive Phase 1 changes began more than 2.5 years ago. Is the code draft cleaned up? Yes. Is it more user-friendly? Yes. Is it perfect? Far from it. But the shining light of the Phase 1 rewrite is the substantive affordable housing incentives, which seek to make the development process far less onerous, significantly more inclusionary, and much better aligned with our community needs and values in that one crucial area. Imperfect as it is, we strongly encourage adoption of the Phase 1 draft of Chapter 14 rewrite as is, with the affordable housing incentives as is, so that we can at long last move on to phases 2 and 3. And I would urge the City Council to direct staff in our future phases to be inspired by these incentives in the way that they were written, so that they can influence other parts of the code, and that we can move in a much more equitable and speedy fashion. Affordable housing for our neighbors, for our workforce, for family, for our unhoused neighbors is far more important than a year of legal review. So let's do this thing. Thank you all.
Thank you. Yes, sir, you have the floor.
Mayor Councilors, my name's Rick Martinez. After seeing what you guys put out, it kind of struck me as really just doesn't include neighborhoods. I can't figure out why neighborhoods ain't involved is we're part of this community. We live in this community. We live in these areas where you know, do the change. These changes are happening, and not having neighborhoods involved in it is just really sad. I asked to be part of it, and other committee review committee, and they said no because the mayor, I guess you made the choices, and no neighborhood representative is all on any of that. I can't figure that out. Are neighborhoods bad? Are they left wing radicals, or is it the whole thing seems like it's written by the Trump administration and developers? Nothing helping the neighborhoods. Really disappointed in the way this whole thing was written and the way neighborhoods have not been represented. You know, councilors themselves you could have all gone out and had meetings with in your own districts with neighborhoods and tell them what changes you want to make and let the neighborhoods know. Because a lot of times I get calls from neighbors saying, "How did this happen?" Oh, it's because we weren't paying attention. Well, it could help by councilors making sure that they do pay attention. Without that happening, it's really bad. And I'm just really disappointed that the way this is going, and it just, you know, you got another phase 2. I hope in phase 2 you bring neighborhoods in, have neighborhood representatives in there. But right now there was no neighborhood representation at all. And it just, like I said, it was another disappointment by the way this thing was run. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors. My name is Jamie Blosser, and you've heard such a focus on affordable housing with a lot of the comments so far, and you heard last night with the presentation by Elisa Montoya about it's not just a living wage question for Santa Fe, it is housing, which is why I think it's so important to really consider moving forward with phase 1 approvals. And I want to echo quite a few of the comments about how important these deep affordability incentives are and how important it is to move these forward without amendments. They simply don't make sense individually unless they're packaged together. And that really truly would be a deep incentive for developers. And as someone said, bringing more private developers in. I would also in future phases consider again how to better streamline the process even more, make it easier for people to access the process if all development codes are going through, having as much opportunity for administrative approval as possible, because people coming in to do development spend significant amounts of money and are at risk to get a governing body approvals. I also want to say in future phases, I think it's very important to also look at some upzoning, which would allow more of that middle missing housing to be in all of our neighborhoods. There's quite a few C1, like the Cerritos corridor near the Casa Alegre neighborhood where I live, where you have C1 right next to R6, which makes no sense. We really want to see an urban transect, and those block 2 or 3 next to, adjacent to those commercial corridors are really important, and they could be upzoned and provide such a more vibrant space. So future phases, please approve this phase. And thank you so much for your leadership in this. And thank you to the Land Use Department.
Thank you for coming down. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Sean Evans. I live at 1121 North Luna Circle. I'm honored to be the 2025 president of AI Santa Fe, and I'm here representing our professional organization to wholeheartedly encourage you to adopt these phase 1 changes to the Land Development Code. A few things I'd like to emphasize. I was a member of the Technical Advisory Working Group, and I couldn't be more proud of our city. When I walked into the very first meeting of the TOG, a rather strange acronym, and to learn to see an incredibly diverse group of advocates for development in the city, coming from multiple perspectives, people who are often arguing with each other at this very podium in front of you all, and to see everyone really galvanize and be on the same page with the utmost goal of this rewrite, emphasizing equity and sustainability, 2 very important things that this city can lead
our country in. Secondly, the affordable housing incentives are incredibly important. We simply cannot wait for the rest of this rewrite process to begin reforming how we build affordable housing in this community. Our work is just beginning. Our organization of more than 100 architects and architects in training is very excited to continue to collaborate with the city of Santa Fe and all of the organizations here in the room tonight and those that can't be here to continue to work on future phases of the Land Development Code and the general plan. We're excited that these reforms can transform the way that we talk about development in Santa Fe. Is too toxic. People are put up against each other, and we need to transform this into a city that celebrates yes, not no, and that we can build together to make this the most sustainable city in the Southwest and the most equitable city. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Yes, sir. You have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Tomas Rivera. I am the Executive Director of Chainbreaker Collective. Chainbreaker is a membership-led economic and environmental justice organization here in Santa Fe with over 800 dues-paying members. Chainbreaker is not a builder organization. We are not developers. We are not even a housing organization. Chainbreaker is a civil rights organization, and housing is a civil rights issue, and land use is a civil rights issue. Our members are largely renters living in some of the most vulnerable neighborhoods in the city, some of the most disinvested neighborhoods in the city, like mine in Hopewell, Man, which I live, I'm sorry, and 109 Quapa Street. Chainbreaker supports this phase one update to the land use code because it recognizes that people don't just need housing over their heads, they need holistic communities. When we look at the land use code and we look at parking regulations, we look at height, all of these details in how things are built really influence our ability to access our city, whether or not we are going to be car dependent, whether or not we are building a sprawling city that increases CO2 emissions and car dependency down the line. Chainbreaker members have struggled with these issues for over 20 years, and our members' ancestors and before we came about were doing that long before. This land use code is a good start. It's not going to solve all of these problems, but it's the beginning and it opens the door to that. Chainbreaker remains committed to engaging, as we have already, in further land use code updates down the line in phase 2 to ensure that development without displacement and the in the weeds level policies that make that possible will be embedded in the future phases. We encourage you to support this and move it forward. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Kathy Garcia. I live at 2600 West Zia. I have been a Santa Fe resident for the last 10 years where I currently rent, but I have currently rented also in districts 1 and 3. For the last 5 years, I've been an organizer with Chainbreaker Collective, most recently as their communications organizer. Chainbreaker members, the majority of whom are low-income people of color, urge the City Council to pass this first phase of the land use code updates as introduced. We cannot wait any longer to start shifting the systemic infrastructure which is preventing true housing affordability in the city. Since the plan and the website for public engagement have gone up, Chainbreaker has been going over the details with our members and going over the projected benefits for us and for all of our neighbors. These initial conversations then subsequently have led to continued engagement with many of the organizations who have spoken here earlier tonight. We have worked together to collaboratively draft that, and we appreciate that collaborative process. There will be other phases of the land use code update, and acting now to pass this first phase signals that the governing body is serious about effecting policy that will have real and immediate benefits to those city residents who are most vulnerable to risk of eviction and displacement. City survey after city survey repeats the same themes on housing unaffordability, urging city leaders to act quickly and decisively. We urge you to do so here with the Land Use Code Update Phase 1. On a personal note, as someone who was gentrified and displaced out of my hometown of Los Angeles, I would really like to be able to stay here in Santa Fe, the place I have proudly chosen to make my home. Go Dodgers. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for almost everything. Okay, if we we have a next speaker, please go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, city councilors, my name is Joe Simmons. I'm an architect. I live at 216 Barella Street, nearby. I am a member of the Technical Advisory Working Group as a representative of the Santa Fe American Institute of Architects. I'm here to commend the city staff and their consultants for having taken an impossibly arcane land use code and translated it into a web-based document that is searchable and illustrated and written in plain English. That alone is worthy of passing. The incentives in the affordable housing aspects of this new code will encourage the actual delivery of badly needed housing product. Certainly there's much further work is needed to bring this code into the 20th century relevance by focusing on the character of neighborhoods. I want to gentleman who spoke before me about the lack of participation in neighborhoods. This was not the objective in this part of the code. It will be part of phase 2. Also by figuring out appropriate building forms to use in the city in the future and for compatible use. So I urge this body to adopt this code as written. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here tonight. Yes, make sure the mic is strategically placed. There you-
How's that?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Is that better?
Even better.
Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dolores Shapiro. I reside at 1438 Miraceros Loop South. I'm here to speak in support of the Phase 1 initiative. If, as Aristotle maintained, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, pass the whole package. The whole in this case is made up of the people who work here but can't afford to live here, the homeless who lost their leases because of rising rents, the essential workers who, I can't read my own writing, are being priced out. The whole also consists of the developers who would have incentives to provide affordable housing. And last but not least, the community. It will make us a better place, a nicer, wiser, and more caring place. It's a win-win-win. Make it happen.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. 1 second, we'll reset the clock and you have the floor.
Hello, governing body, mayor, councilors. My name is Pat Vigali. I live on West Manhattan Avenue in District 1. I am really excited that this phase 1 is finally here. I would like to thank the staff. I know Ms. Lamboy, Ms. Moore, Ms. Blitnikoff, Ms. Mino Kerman, Mr. Alvarado all worked really hard on this for a long time. So thank you to you for all of your work. You know, I think these affordable housing changes are really great. Again, this is phase 1, so we have time to make them even better. But I think right now we need to focus on getting this passed. It has the affordable housing changes. It has some parking flexibility and increased bike parking, which I think is great. And I think when people start complaining that like, oh, this is, you know, maybe this is too dense, or maybe, you know, we need more parking here. We need to look at our really great established neighborhoods and see, does this neighborhood have this much parking? Does it need this much parking? I live off of Guadalupe by the rail yard. We don't have this much parking and it works fine. We have a lot of density. It's a great neighborhood. So when people are worried that this change is going to make bad housing or make it so that there's only big apartment buildings, I think we need to look at what we've already built, how dense that already is, how much parking there is there now, and see, no, actually this works quite well. And this is what Santa Fe is made of. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Yes, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Hi there. My name is Kristen Pells. I live at 501 Calle de Valdez in Santa Fe. I just recently became aware of this, and I think it's very exciting that this work is going on. I don't know a lot about the land use changes that are proposed, but I fully support increases in density, anything that increases walkability and bikeability in our city, and reduction in parking requirements. I fully agree with what Pat said. Sometimes it's really convenient to have a nice parking space, but you don't necessarily need it. I was lucky enough to grow up in a neighborhood in Denver that was very affordable at the time, with a park and a library 1 block away, great shops in the neighborhood that I walked to all the time, many safe biking routes throughout the city that connected the city. Everyone deserves a walkable community, not just the rich, and that is where walkable communities exist today. Everything about life and communities is better the more time you spend out of your car, the more time you walk and bike. And if it's more convenient to drive, I usually do, although I never regret when I don't. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. 1 second, and you have the floor.
Hi, good evening, councilors and mayor. My name is Mary Hall. I live at 202 Avenida Vista Grande in the county. I am a frequent, multiple times a week volunteer at Santa Fe Suites, and I see every time I'm there the impact of the lack of affordable housing here in Santa Fe. So many people I have met there had homes, lost them, medical issues, job issues, fell behind on rent, and then they're on the streets. They're from here, and now they're trying to put their lives back together. There's nowhere for them to transition to. Many have a job, would like to move somewhere else. There's nowhere that they can afford. If they could move, that would open up a space for someone else to transition out of housing or out of homelessness into housing. I know that it's a big package, this phase 1 package. The beauty of that is it has been out there for all of us to look at for over a year. We're ready. I'm not part of the technical group or the community advisory group, any of those groups. And yet I've been to several public meetings over the last year plus. I've learned a lot about it. The document has been on the website for over a year. We're ready. There's amazing things, but it needs to be done all together. The whole housing affordability package, density, the fee in I'm sorry, my mind's going blank and I can't read my writing like someone else. It needs to be a package, and we need to do it now. There's no more time to wait. So I encourage you all to stick with this aggressive schedule and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have the floor.
Hello, my name is Marcia Emerton and I live on Vereda Oriente. Let's get going on this and pass this. I've actually read the whole thing twice, and if I can read it, anyone can. It's set up really well to understand. So applause to all these people back here. Another point I would like to bring up is we can't do this piecemeal. As you read it, you realize this depends on this depends on this. I'm not going to reiterate all the lovely speakers who've gone before me. We all know we need houses. Now's the time. I heard a new phrase recently. It's called land the plane. Let's land the plane. Now I'm going to go off script a little bit here. I was at a housing conference up in Spokane in June. Somebody brought up in some of the cities that were there, that was Western states, they have portfolios of house plans that are already pre-approved. It makes it a lot easier, especially for a small builder, knowing that this can go forward. You can make some changes and things, but what a really good idea. Then, a couple weeks ago, I was up in Colorado at a friend's new house. Now, this is a fancy pants neighborhood, right? I'm always looking at houses everywhere I go, and I'm looking at these houses that are beautiful, and I'm going, these are duplexes and triplexes. You couldn't tell. They were beautiful. They had front porches. People are walking about chatting with each other. If I sat out on the porch of my friend's house, people would go by with their dogs. They'd stop and chat, drink wine, had fun. But we can do some of these things, and it's not going to change anything in this plan. But I think there are things that we could do, especially the multiple family ones that look pretty and are good. So let's land the plane.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Florence Frank. I'm at 2725 Agua Fria, and I'm excited to be here as a member of the public, mixing it up a little bit. One of my earliest memories of being here in Santa Fe was going to one of those community engagement meetings, specifically the one at Southside Library. I had never been to a meeting like that before. I was really curious who would show up. Would it be a pretty wonky crowd, kind of like we're seeing here? Was it going to be a lot of people who are anti-development? I was so thrilled to see the range of people there. Was everyone going to agree on every issue? No. Was everyone really excited to hear we're going through 3 different phases? Each one is really important. It's not to say that one is more important than the other. I can really tell there was hunger in the room, that people really wanted to be there and to keep showing up. So that was 2 years ago, technically a little over 2 years ago. What's happened in that time? People are still really hungry for these issues. You've heard me at this very podium talking about housing issues. You've heard several other people. So just want to, stand here being in encouragement with everyone else that has been said tonight. These all need to be brought together. And again, I've been really excited to see this for 2 years, and you've heard from so many other people who've been waiting for much longer than that. So much.
Thank you for being here.
Hello, my name's Elizabeth West, and it's pretty cool that I followed that woman who was right in front of me. And I've already forgotten your name, but I haven't forgotten you. I was at that same meeting, and I remember you because you were so excited. And I thought, well, she must be a newcomer, or she doesn't know what she's doing, or she maybe is hopeful, and you're probably all those things. But in any case, the reason I think it would be great to pass this is not because it's perfect, but because it is open. It's a little bit like what you guys have to do almost every time you meet, which is make a decision to say, I vote yes for this, and somebody seconds it, and then you have a discussion. And I'm considering phase 1 kind of like that. I love the nitty-gritty details. And for example, when I see another box building going up for multi-houses that looks a little bit like, the 50s Soviet Union, I'm discouraged. But just this morning, when I came back from visiting my ex-husband and family out south of town, I saw a building that's going in that actually has variety of heights. Those are details that you will hear me talking about again. I'm in favor of increasing height, but not everywhere. But that's for later. So I'm in favor of this wonderful thing. And I just love that I followed that young woman. I can't believe it. I said, she looks so familiar. And as soon as you said, I know I'm not supposed to talk to you, but I'm talking to you. As soon as she said, oh, I was so excited. I said, yeah, I remember her. And Mr. Kluk, I think that was his name. I didn't dare say his name out loud. He came up to me at that meeting and he said, you seem to be showing up a lot. Would you like to be on one of these committees? And I said, well, I'm part of the Old Santa Fe Association, and there are several people already on the committee. And I don't think you need a talkative person there who tends to tell jokes or read poems. And he said, well, I don't know about that. And I said, well, I'm going to say no, but thank you. I was honored. So it's pretty inclusive.
Thank you.
It's not perfect. And I think you should pass it with some caveats that we know are going to be things to hash out in the next phases.
Thank you for being here.
And thanks to that wonderful woman. There you go.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, how about in the Zoom room? Do we have people with their hands up?
We do. Ann Stanley, you are allowed to speak.
Hi there. My name is Ann Stanley. I live at 2240 West Alameda Street. I'm really excited to participate in this community engagement meeting, and I really appreciate that Santa Fe has such a robust community engagement process. I've already attended a presentation on the phase 1 proposal, And I was really impressed with how detailed and clear the information was that was presented. I've had an opportunity to look at the proposal online. As other people have said, it's been up for quite some time now, and there's been a lot of commentary about it. The makeover of the code is super impressive. I can just imagine for developers, particularly smaller ones, that having it be web-based and searchable will just make it all the more accessible, which I think is really important in such a key community initiative like housing and land use. The housing market here is super expensive. There's a very narrow band of offerings. And so we are missing workforce housing. You can't have a city without workforce, and you can't have a workforce without workforce housing. So I encourage you to adopt this phase one proposal that will make development and use of the land use code more accessible, and also to make housing and this city itself more accessible and better meet the needs of this community. The development incentives are key, as is the design flexibility. And I strongly urge this group to adopt the phase one as is. And now, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for weighing in. Other hands in the Zoom room, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Jennifer Jenkins, you're allowed to speak.
Good evening, councilors, mayor. I am Jennifer Jenkins, and it was my my pleasure and honor to be a part of the technical advisory working group. And I encourage all of you to adopt this at the earliest possible moment. Amazing amount of work has gone into this. The staff and everybody involved has done really important work. I live and breathe Chapter 14 every day of my life. And I can tell you that we are absolutely moving in the right direction. There's more work ahead of us. But this is a very critical first step that is going to open the doors for the type of development that this community needs. So I implore you to move forward with this as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ellen Wennick, you're allowed to speak.
Ellen, can you hear us? Madam Clerk, can you try her again?
Ellen, you're allowed to speak. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we've got you now. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Mayor, councilors. Such a lot of work has been going into this update, and I think you've had a good crowd with really legitimate compliments and concerns, in particular for workforce housing. There are developments in the works currently that really are not going to be affordable, that have been working their way through planning commission. But in the end product, particularly because, as we all know, building materials costs have gone up so much. So I think there's some concern about things that have not had this governing body's final approval, that we may want to take a new look at their approval, because you are really doing the right thing in looking at really workforce housing, about traffic problems, at all those issues that really make Santa Fe Santa Fe. So, I want to thank you for the work that you have done. If it's all right for me to say, I think we've got to take another look at Los Prados, which does not really uh, uh, comply with what we're trying to do in this update. So thanks everybody and staff for all your good work. Thanks for letting me speak, and may you all have a good and peaceful weekend ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
Who's next, Madam Clerk?
Anyone else in the Zoom room wishes to speak? Seeing no other hands.
We do have another person in the chamber here. If you could bring the mic down, you will have the floor.
Yes. Is this clear enough?
Yes, if you keep it right in front of your mouth.
Right. Okay. I've fussed with that about from other people as well. My first name is Varda, Varda, Brahms, as in Beethoven, Brahms. I live at 1218 Seiler Road, Unit 101. I am very, very grateful for the Seiler apartments that were built. I lived in Santa Fe from 1980 until 2004. And my son grew up here. My son is now a Santa Fe County firefighter and paramedic. I moved to Albuquerque in 2004 to go to graduate school. I had been a substitute teacher and I wanted to get my master's in education, which I did. And I've actually been a sub for about 24 years in the schools in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Because I was a sub, well, I'll just say that because I was in school a lot of that time, it was a lot easier to have flexibility as a sub. And also, I think there was a certain amount of ageism that I was also dealing with. But because I was a sub, which is per diem work for 20 years, even though I wanted to work as much as I could, I ended up not having any retirement income whatsoever. And this has put me in a very difficult position. I'm now 78 years old. I wanted to move back to Santa Fe to be near my son and his family, and I could not move back. I was on waiting list after waiting list. I finally found out about the Seiler Apartments, and I was on the waiting list there for 2.5 years before I could move back. I have been a recipient, and I still am a recipient of Section 8, and that has saved my life, really. You know, it's made things feasible for me, and especially getting older where I don't feel like I can work full time. Having affordable housing here really, really, really matters. As someone who lived here for 24 years and then couldn't move back, it was super frustrating. And I wanted to be near my son and my granddaughter, and I needed that as a human being. And so affordable housing matters. There are two other points I wanted to make. One is that
Maybe you could wrap it up because you're a little over time.
Seiler is great. We need artist studios. We need affordable artist studios that are large enough and where there are less requirements. And the other thing is that I want to say I am really grateful for HomeWise for all of the work that they have done with their fellows program and with all the open public education forums that they have given for the last couple of years. I've learned a lot about the housing issues and the needs and what we need to negotiate. And I think HomeWise deserves tremendous appreciation for how they have committed so much generosity to the public process.
Thank you.
And
thanks for being here.
yeah, and the last thing is please take into account elders in how the planning gets done and the needs of elders. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down tonight. Anyone else in the chamber who has been waiting your turn? Anyone else on Zoom, Madam Clerk? Oh, we have somebody with a hand up or getting up to talk. Very good.
Good evening. Good evening, counselors. I just worked all day for the city. I am working for the economic development team. Sorry, my name is Maciek. I'm working with the economic development team. Sure, it's MACIEK. I'm the only one. It's easy. I'm glad I got here on time. Just about. So for me, very quickly, I talk to people all day. I talk to business owners, residents, and to me, the land use code change for me is about choice, about enabling choice for people that live in a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, a cottage courtyard. If the only choice you have is to drive a Lamborghini, you're going to be walking to work. And I feel like that's what we have our housing policy. Single family home that you can't afford, or an apartment building that you have to drive very far to work. So for me, land use choice is about giving as many choices to people as possible, lowering the cost and enabling people to live in communities that are more diverse. Because when you have more housing choices, you have many different kinds of people, different ages, different incomes, different backgrounds. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else who was waiting their turn here in the chamber?
Mayor, we have one more person in the Zoom room.
Okay, let's go there.
Quaylani, you are allowed to speak.
Hi there, my name is Kailani Torres. I just wanted to come on here and say that I am a Santa Fe local. I was born here at St. Vincent's Hospital, and I just wanted to speak in favor of this. Being, in my early 30s and trying to, find housing for me and my children. I am a single mom. Their dad passed in December, and it's just been so difficult. And I want to be here. I'm from here. I was born here, and I would like to be here. And I just wanted to speak in favor of this, and just as everyone knows, just emphasize the importance of affordable housing. So thank you.
Thank you for waiting and speaking. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the Zoom room, Madam Clerk? No?
No one else in the Zoom room.
Anyone else in the chamber? Well, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. This was the first public comment in our process. No action is anticipated. It's simply, according to our processes, the chance for the public to comment on a bill before it goes into the committee process. I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight, speaking up, making the points you did, and I hope you will continue to participate as the bill goes through the committee process and comes before the governing body. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're adjourned.